Funding for the production of Folks is made possible in part by the Friends of Louisiana Public Broadcasting.
Everybody says folks, just plain old folks. Everybody just people all over the world. Folks who live, folks got to give, folks got to care, ooh, folks got to share. Our world is small, so very small. What touches one of all, ooh, touches us all. So stay alive, just to survive. Folks got to be in harmony. Everybody just folks. Just plain old folks. Just plain old folks. Everybody just folks. Everybody just folks. Just plain old folks. Just plain old folks. Everybody just folks.
Hello and welcome to Folks. Tonight our program centers around the next generation, those young men and women who will be making decisions and influencing world opinions in the next 20 years or so. To find out what's happening with some young people, we talked to some teens and their parents about growing up in '82. With me is Folks reporter Daryl Murray, who has been in contact with some teens about growing up.
Thanks, Sharon. You know, you hear a lot about today's changing attitudes. It seems that life is more complicated, and we have more to be concerned about in 1982 than when I graduated from high school in 1974. World affairs, politics, drugs, school, and even Pac-Man are just a few of the things that influence today's high school students. Well, we hung out with some high school students to find out how the world looks from their eyes. What type of things do you think about when you think about growing up?
Well, problems with falling in love and really just the kind of growing pains that I hear about.
I don't look forward into getting out of my teens. I look forward into enjoying my teen years because, you know, I know they won't ever come back again. And I see all these people growing up too fast and, you know, not taking advantage of the teenage years. But I just plan to enjoy what I have.
Teens in this story attend Scotlandville Magnet High. They are part of the latest generation that has put away their toys. Anyone who's experienced adolescence knows the agony of coming of age, but somehow today's teenagers seem different.
Teenagers today, when I was a teenager last year, they're a lot faster than where we were. I see now when I talk to a lot of my younger friends, a lot of them are smoking and drinking and some things that we just didn't do. And a lot of us do it now, but it's just teenagers are doing what we did. Teenagers are doing now what we do now. I don't approve of that.
You know, when a kid growing up, when he get to that age of 13, if you don't have control over him, a kid think he's grown.
Teenagers now are much more permissive than they were when I was in school. There are some things that teenagers are allowed to do at this time, in this year, 1982, that I would have had second thoughts about when I came through school.
When my mother was going out, she keeps saying that she didn't go out till like she was after high school and things like that. And now kids are going out 13, 14 years old. And she has to understand that she has to be lenient enough to let me keep up with my friends, just as she had to keep up with hers then, because I'm sure when she was growing up, she wanted to do things that her mother wouldn't let her do because of the way her mother was brought up.
I really think our teenagers today are still high-quality people. They have high ideals. They want to do well in whatever they're doing. They want to make a good living. They want to have a good life. It's just that value systems in society change, and because they are socialized to those value systems, then their own goals and ideals are different to previous generations.
One example of changing value systems in young people can be seen with desegregation. For many teens, especially those who attend public schools, integration is no longer a social issue. It's a way of life.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't see color. Nobody there sees color.
It's the same from when I was in junior high school and elementary.
Okay, so you're really just used to the situation?
Uh-huh.
If race relations don't seem to call for much concern, schoolwork does.
If their potential is greater today or not, I would question. It's just that the demands in terms of the body of knowledge are there. And those who have the potential can really accomplish a great deal. It's amazing.
Yeah, I guess I've matured. I'm more serious about my work, my education, and I'm, looking ahead as to, college and what career, what job. And I'm thinking about being responsible. I haven't become responsible yet, but I'm thinking about it. I matured in that way.
I really want to go to college because it seems like nothing else to do. If you don't go to college, it seems like you won't even have a job.
The serious side of these teens seem to revolve around their future.
Students are concerned. They are very concerned. But as they look at the issues, as you mentioned, in Beirut, as they look at the issues in Pakistan, as they look at the issues in Israel, their basic concern is, why are adults operating that way?
I really sit down and listen to the news and everybody's talking about war. It kind of scares me.
I was thinking about the other day when I heard it on the news, when you become 18, you have to register for the draft, I think, and it was saying how no one has been drafted in 10 years. And I was saying if I ever got drafted, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind it, and I'll go. I'll go and try to serve my country the best way I could.
What other things scare you in life besides world affairs or the war?
Well, finding a job when I get older. I see so much unemployment.
It's a tough world for them. I'm glad I'm not a teenager. My world was a whole lot easier to grow up in.
For parents, brothers, sisters, and family friends, the maturing attitudes and expressions from their rapidly growing teenagers are handled with a certain amount of awkwardness on their own part. The child, who is no longer a child, but not quite a man or woman, requires a special kind of attention that is difficult to define.
I see parents making grave mistakes in letting their children tell them what to do. Around here, my husband and I tell our children what to do.
We've got a good relationship. I feel that we do anyway, he and I. He makes his choice on what school he wants to go to and what subjects he wants to take, how he's going to implement his future, and I give him suggestions on what I know is good fields and what I feel like he should go into, and then he takes it and chooses from there. I like to teach a kid respect, and people would say you try to build a kid up in the shadow of you coming up, but that's not it. I try to teach a kid that he got to live for himself. And the way to live for yourself is to don't hate nobody, to love everybody, and to try to get along.
Well, right now she's gotten to the age where boys are it, She always wants to talk to them, and I went through the stage where you had to learn, how to handle a relationship. So I'm trying to pass on the advice that I learned through my experiences.
Regardless of differences, everyone involved learned something new about themselves as a result of the 6-year teen experience.
Sometimes I don't listen, and that's the biggest mistake, just not listening. And when I realize I'm not listening, I go back and I say, hey, wait a minute, let's talk this over.
I would say that they are a great group of youngsters. They need guidance. They need leadership.
I guess the experiences of growing up are universal and timeless, and times do change from generation to generation. The difference today is young people are forced to become more aware of life outside of their family and neighborhoods. Becoming more aware of life at an early age makes them grow up a little faster than we adults would like.
Daryl, talking about growing up fast, and one subject that we really don't like to talk to young people about are the intimacies in life that could make a young girl grow up in 9 months. Last Mother's Day, we ran a story about the joys and frustrations of teenage mothers. Because teen pregnancies have reached what has been called epidemic proportions, we've decided to show that story again for parents who missed it the first time.
The first 3 months you're not really pregnant because you're sitting there telling yourself, no. I mean, for the whole 3 months. And I said, well, I'm going to get an abortion. But then I said, but no, I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. But I'm not ready for a kid right now. I ought to go do it. But I can't do it. What if I can't have no more children after that? You know? So I couldn't make up my mind. But about the 4th month, when you start feeling it move inside you, it's like, I'm pregnant. I could feel it, you know, that's how I felt. I feel a baby. Mm-hmm. You know, I ran to the house. Y'all, it kicked. You know, I got excited. And then I wanted my baby, which I didn't know if I wanted it before then or not.
Troy, Donna, Sabrina, Shalita, and Bridget are 5 high school students who are statistics in the teenage epidemic sweeping the country. They are young mothers caught between a religious and philosophical morality and their own emotional needs.
If you experiment with marijuana, cigarettes, you're going to experiment with sex. And like the peer pressure, oh, girl, last night, you know, some girls, they feel left out from all that. I was, and he, and, you know, so you're going to go try it too to see what it was like.
Is teenage pregnancy a real problem?
Yes, it is a problem, and it's a problem in New Orleans, it's a problem in Louisiana, it's a problem, I guess, nationwide. And that's the reason why we have a school such as Harbury. Back in the days when girls could not remain in school when they were pregnant, this school was founded. It was federally funded, and because it was successful in keeping pregnant girls in school, our school board decided to go on and keep on financing it and supporting it.
The Margaret Hoggery School in New Orleans used to be an elementary school, but now the space is shared with the school district's health care curriculum on the 2nd and 3rd floors and a specialized curriculum for pregnant girls on the 1st floor.
It's an alternative school. Girls come here who want to come here. They don't have to come here. They're not kicked out of their district schools because they're pregnant. They come to us because they want to. They know that our school is small. We don't have a whole lot of stairs to go up and down. We do have all of the academic subjects that they need, all of the required subjects. We do have some elective subjects. We have typing and shorthand and clerical practice, and homemaking, parenting. We offer parenting skills and how to take care of their own bodies while they're pregnant, how to take care of the baby after the newborn baby, how to bathe it and diaper it and whatever.
What kind of girls are we talking about?
Well, we're talking mostly about low socioeconomic group of girls, mostly black girls, whose parents probably had them at an early age. The average parent probably is about 35 years old with a 15-year-old daughter in our school.
Are these bad girls?
No, not at all.
How do the girls get themselves pregnant. I know they don't get themselves pregnant, but with all the sex education supposedly in the schools and all the contraceptives, because it's a very controversial subject, especially with minors getting contraceptives without their parents knowing about it. How can a girl get pregnant?
The answer to that, I really don't know. I'm going to go on some of the stories I hear from some of the girls. Most of them don't really know, or they don't believe it's going to happen to me. You know, it may be the first time they had intercourse, or it may be that they may have begun to take the pill maybe 2 days before and may not realize that it takes a while for the pill to become effective. But I think the major thing is they are sex ignorant.
You can do it, but do you know what you're doing? You see, that's the whole problem with some of these girls. They have a lot of immature young ladies that attend this school. And they'll sit down and they'll talk. And they don't know nothing. Nothing. You know, let me see. One girl, well, I'm not going to go into a lot, but one girl is, oh no, she thought the baby came out of your anus. I mean, wait a minute. That's the wrong part, you know. One girl didn't know what a uterus was. One girl wanted to know where the milk came from after you have the baby. A lot of girls don't know all this stuff. They get pregnant not knowing anything, nothing about what they did.
So they don't even know how they got pregnant.
Right, nothing. And it's a shame.
All of these girls are new mothers with babies between the ages of 6 weeks and 3 months. The girls themselves range in age from 16 to 18. Because sex education classes started in the New Orleans public schools 2 years ago, only one of the girls had had a sex education course before she got pregnant.
School, the first part, when it was really should have been taught. I mean, they thought it was a bad thing to talk about sex in class. You know, I mean, we made jokes about it. You know, most of the boys running around and joking about, yeah, guess what happened, you know, all this here. But as far as the teachers is coming straight out, or having parents or maybe, you know, specialists come out and tell us about different things and how to prevent it, rather than, you know, just telling us, well, we can't talk about that in class. I'd rather y'all not get a conversation started.
What about younger girls? A lot of, like we hear so much about girls who are in elementary school.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't.
They're just doing it because some of their older friends, you know, might tell them, so, look, I did this, or when you gonna do it, something like that.
And nothing gonna happen to you, I know, because I had a friend that told me, well, I did it, and nothing's gonna happen to you, you know, and I was in elementary school and I wasn't about to try it.
And some girls, that young lady, they have become alienated from their parents. And they look for someone to care for them, to hold them, that they think care for them and love them, you know.
Unfortunately, we have had some young girls who may have been here 3 times, and they came here in 7th grade, and like in 9th grade now with 3 children, and that's the sad part about it. We can tell kids all about sex education. We can tell them about contraceptives. We can take them to the family planning place, but they have to be the ones who want to do it. And if they don't, that's I don't know how you get to that.
How come y'all didn't use any protection?
It's not that, well, it's not that I didn't. It's just that I tried it and it, take the pill for instance. I had been on 3 different. It just didn't agree with me. Either it was too weak or it was too strong. It was doing something to me. So I just left it alone.
So did you purposely get pregnant, or?
Not really purposely, but I just went on and had sex, but I knew it was gonna happen one day. So I took that chance. It's one of those things.
It's emotional feelings between you and the person you're with that just can't be helped. You don't think about, 5 minutes before then, oh, I got to run to the bathroom, and so I'll uphill.
What about the boys? What are they doing? Or I guess the young men. The guys don't like to be called boys anymore. Well, what's happening with them?
Not much. But nowadays, for guys to want to do something to help take care of the baby, you should. Take it. Yeah, it is exciting. It's an adventure. Like, whereas most of them, after they see the baby, they don't even want to, help take care of it.
What about your folks? How did they respond when you came home and say, "Mom, I'm pregnant"?
Well, my mother, she was very, very upset. She said, "Wow, you pregnant? I didn't think it was going to be you." And when she told my grandmother, she was upset with me. My daddy was too. But after a while, they got over it. They did send me away at the VOA maternity home. I did go there. But I kept telling my mom I didn't want to be there. After I had the baby, I came back home and everything was different. They just crazy over the baby.
What do you think when you, when you see other girls, okay, all of you have had a child, I guess the oldest is 3 months old. What do you think of other girls now? You see, walking around the school who are pregnant, other girls who might become pregnant within the next couple of months.
And they don't know what they're getting into. They don't know.
No.
Why not?
It's not peaches and cream.
Clothes are expensive, food is getting sky high, and on top of that, instead of you having to care for one person now, you have two.
And most girls, they still in school. Some kids do not work through the high school years. I didn't have to work, but I'm the independent type of person, I didn't want my mother to buy me nothing. Look, don't get this one. Let me do it, I worked. I bought the clothes I needed for school. Everything, I bought it. It made me feel good to know I did it. So, see, I know how it is to have to support yourself. And, I imagine how it would be to support me and the baby. Some girls don't, and they still depend on their mother. Well, because if mom's not there, they just totally, it's just, they can't do nothing. They never work. They have no sense of responsibility, and when they realize, Mom wants some jeans, you can't get that. You have to buy the baby some clothes. They might bust out in tears.
It's like a new toy, and it'll take care of it and show you the pictures and all. But as the baby get older, the newness wear away. I haven't followed them through, but I've seen from past people how, they forget about the babies after a while. Like some of them may leave them with their grandparents and say, hey, my baby's staying there for the week. I get him on weekends. And things. Right now, when a baby's 2, 3, even 4, 5 months, they can't wait to get home to play with it and do the things people do with babies. But after a while, I believe it wears off.
What about the support of the child? Listen, we don't have you two over here. What's happening as far as, do you know what you're going to do as far as trying to support this baby?
Well, when I get out of school, I plan to go to college and work part-time to help take care of my kid. Right now, my mom is helping me, my boyfriend is helping me. But it's really hard. You can't do nothing by yourself. You need help.
Yeah, what about the money? Okay, I imagine it's going to be rather hard to go to school, try to get some money to support you and a baby and take care of a baby at the same time.
It really is hard.
And as far as planning, okay, yeah, it's gonna be me, my baby, and maybe whoever I get married to. Like she said, okay, my baby's daddy, he's one of the type that he cannot stay away from his son. This is crazy about him, and I figured that I should let him have, at least that. If I, don't want to give him anything else, just let him have at least his son, around. And maybe one day we will get married. We have been talking about it, but not sure whether or not we want that.
Do you have any advice for girls who may be in a situation they could get pregnant?
Stop. Just don't do it. See, they shouldn't have sex. Just ban it off the face of the earth. and throw it somewhere. Just hug and kiss is enough.
It's true.
Just do that. You see,
that's all.
And that'll be that.
Well, I just want to say that when my little girl gets older, before puberty, I'm going to tell her, you know, about the facts of life, and after puberty, I'm going to tell her all about it. So when she comes to me and wants to know something, so she would have to get it off the street, she going to already know, you know, what she's going to get herself into. So she'll be ready for it.
Were you ready for it?
Well, not really, not really.
We hope that if you have some kids around the house or even around the neighborhood, you take some time out and talk to them and find out where they're coming from and where they're going. I'm Sharon Elizabeth-Sexton, and we'll see you again next week on Folks. Funding for the production of Folks is made possible in part by the Friends of Louisiana Public Broadcasting.